Shut up and sit down.
Hello again, welcome back. Going to do a little bit more work on the 747 for you today. Do a few of the rear wings, etc, etc. There we go again. Make a quick start for you and we'll get the ball rolling. So the purists amongst people might be going, oh my god, he's bending it off the plastic. But pretty much I find it easier to do. I'm going to go over it with a sanding stick anyway, so I don't really see what the fuss is about. Some of these have already broken off anyway, but it's literally just to start getting bits together, bits glued together, so that we can get this bad boy on the way. What have I been doing since I last was here? Oh, just off camera, ta-da, little bit of LED stuff going on. This is just a test piece that I have laying around that I tend to use just to get an idea of how things are going to track. And as you can see, it comes out just at an angle like so and protrudes from the wing. Have I got a bit of something that I can show you it against? Let's look for something dark. Can you pick that up? See? And then what I'll do is once everything's glued together, I then just go round any gaps with the filler, and then that gets sanded smooth once everything's been primed. The reason I do that is because if you're painting and you get paint on the ends of this, sometimes it can be a bit of a bind to get off. So I tend to leave them protruding right until the last minute. And then once I've got everything connected up, I then do a retest before the plane gets glued together. And then I'll go along and I'll smooth that down, and literally then it will follow the contours along the edge of the wing. Where the vertical end plates come up, it will just sit in there really nice. Also noticed that I've got to come along and knock out a really tiny little strobe light through here, which is going to be a little bit of a dog, because as you can see the wing tapers off at the end, so I've not really got a lot of space there. But I think with a bit of deft boring with my Dremel, I think I can get that. I think I can get a lead in there. The jury's out on that one. Since we last met, wheels dry, already on a nice little bit of cocktail stick, bit of white tack, ready for priming. Off camera I've got a chunk of polystyrene left over from when I built the kitchen. Anything like that, you buy flat packs, any furniture, and you get anything with a large blocks of polystyrene in. Keep the polystyrene blocks. The missus may get the ump with you. What you got this? Why have you got that? What's that pile of rubbish doing? But it comes in handy. It really does. It's like gold dust, because especially when you're doing a lot of painting, or like I do, I tend to have kits in various stages of build, purely because some of you know I suffer from MS, so I don't always have the luxury of being able to sit and do a build from start to finish. I have to be mindful of bits and pieces that condition can bring me. So I tend to have kits in various stages of work, so that if I'm having a bit of a turn, I can still come out into me man cave. You know, if I've got my bottom lip out because things ain't quite going to plan health-wise, I can still come out and occupy my mind. And that's the key to this hobby. It's occupying your mind. It's, you know, taking your mind off of the day-to-day running of the world. I know a lot of people, and here there's quite a growing community of ex-servicemen. People that have had PTSD, etc., are getting into the hobby. For me, I find it's therapeutic. It really is. You can have downsides with everything, but when you're dealing with something medical, sometimes it can get a little on top of you. And I always say, when you're feeling like that, this hobby is gold. It really is. For me, thanks to Tony Helgen 35's workshop, I was watching MotoGP one day and just suddenly thought to myself, I'd like to get hold of one of those bikes and do a build, and just googled it just to see whether I could get the model kits, and come across Tony's videos, Helgen 35's workshop, sat and watched them, had a good laugh, because he's quite an eccentric fella, is Tony. Really pleasant, got a great presenting style, and I don't know, it's just humour and humanity or humility or whatever you want to bloody call it, but he just struck a nerve, and you know, I thought, well, actually, yeah, I'll give this a go. I used to build these as a kid. I'll see whether or not, you know, I can still do it. And yeah, there was a few trials, mishaps, the usual. It's like anything. You improvise, you adapt, and you overcome. Something I was sort of taught as a youngster, and I certainly by occupational therapists and people of that ilk. Yeah. Anyway, you know, rather than bore you to death with it all, that's why I got back into the hobby. So if you are out there and you are, how can I say, suffering, or I don't know, you know, you've got a medical condition and you think, oh, I'm never going to be able to do that because, well, I can, you can. You know, today's a good day, I'm assembling quite happily, merrily, and whatever. You know, there's other days I can't even pick up a paintbrush, but I can still get on and do something, or plan something on a build, or think about the next project, or sit at the computer, or whatever, and think, well, a bit of work on the website, a bit of work on the YouTube channel, or whatever, just to keep myself going. And it works. It works for me. Having been in touch with Tony with email, he does a lot of work with people with PTSD, and has said that they find it really, really does help. So you never know. We might have a fledgling community on the go of long-term enthusiasts that are getting into the hobby for the first time, and this is where videos like this may help, because, you know, not everyone has got the skills, or, you know, the eye for the sort of detail. There's no correct way of doing this, let's be honest. You know, there are purists, sit there, do it their way. You know, it's a bit like golf. You know, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to do it this way, you've got to use this particular brush. And, well, at the end of the day, you use what you've got, you create what you can, and at the end of the day, you know, my way isn't the right way. It's just my interpretation, and it works for me. It should work for you guys. So persevere. You know, don't despair. At the end of the day, if you make a mistake, let it dry, let it do its thing, come back to it with a fresh approach, and go for it again. You know, I've got several kits that I've assembled over the years and have been built, rebuilt, stripped down, redone, because I don't like how they've turned out. Well, that's the fun. In case you're wondering what the grips are I'm using, old clothes pegs of the wooden kind, and what I tend to do, I'll just put this on there just to give that a bit of a grip. I'll place that there. What I tend to do when you get these, they're normally the other way round. I'll take one apart. Excuse me. Normally when you get clothes pegs, they come that way round, like so. As we all know, yeah, you can use them that way round. They'll grip, but I tend to find when I spin them around, they actually make a really good set of pincers. And I've been doing this a number of years now with these. You can get all kinds of grips just off camera. You know, you can get little crocodile clips, which come in handy, excuse the paint on it. Brilliant, all well and good, but when you're gluing stuff, I just like to have something that I can leave overnight, do its thing, come back to it the following day and know that nothing's moved. With these, as you can see, they've got a grip on them, you know, and you can use them right tight up on the edge to grip stuff, you know. Now a few of them around that wing, alright, don't look pretty, but I can sling that to one side quite happily, not worry about it, isn't going to come apart. And cheap as chips, good little grippers. And then you get the wife go, where's all my clothes pegs, where's all my clothes pegs, I haven't seen them for months, where you got them? I haven't got them, love, honest. Anywho, let's get back to a bit of building. I've prattled on enough. Right, just off camera, still got the instructions just there in case you're wondering. Let's give you a little perusal. Oh, look at that. So, there's the wings. Obviously I can't glue them together because I've got the LEDs in there. That's the two I've just done. These are the vertical uprights. This is where I've got to bring that little strobe out, where that arrow is, and I'm wondering whether I need to put that in place first, then drill it. I need to, pardon me, do a little bit of Googling, I think, on a close-up of a 747 wing, just so that I know where I'm sending this light out. I know it's overkill, but it's the fine details that work. And I'm going to be moving on to do the inner engine cowls in a sec, get them done. I'll probably glue them all together rather than paint them like so. I'll just dip the airbrush in and give it a blast up inside, and that should give it a coat. I'm going to prime everything first anyway. And as you can see, they've really done a nice job on these instructions. There's the engines again. You know, that's the internal parts that I'm going to be building. This is all going to be primed and get it ready. I'll build the undercarriage, etc. That's that removable panel. I'm really keen to get into it just to see how that turns out. And then undercarriage, various odds and unsods, and then a really good explanation and layout there of how the decals go. top and bottom, different colour paint, etc. So all in all, it's pretty good. Right on the front of the magazine there, you can just see the tip of an LED there, but there is another one. Excuse the hand presentation there. There's another one that comes right down the tip of the wing, and curiosity's getting the better of me on that one before I actually drill anything or go to assemble them. I just want to revisit it just so that I've got it in my head as to what it should be looking like, because once it's done, it's going to hang up. Actually going to hang from the ceiling in this workshop, and I'm going to do Concorde, the A380, and obviously this 747 almost in a landing formation coming into the airport, and I just think it might work out rather nice. So that's what I plan to do, and we'll see how she turns out. These are tiny little pieces as well, so I tend to cut the sprue right in the middle, cut them two edges, let it drop, because I know what it's going to be. I know what I'm making, so I can do that quite happily. 18 and number 19 just there. Just move my hand back on camera for you all. There you go. And like I say, you know, if you're new to the hobby, welcome. That's the first and most important thing. Welcome. It's nice to have you on board, and hopefully, you know, we can start a journey together where you feel you can learn something. If you're out there, you know, feel free to drop me a line. Any questions, any tips even, you know, because although I've been doing this 20 years or so, you're never too old to learn something. He says. Not that age bothers me at all, but you're never too old to learn. And you know, I've picked up tips and tricks even recently, you know, things I've seen online, looked at it and thought, oh yeah, that works. Why didn't I think of that? But you try it and you think, oh, what a handy little tip. Thing I recently got into, it's like anything, you know. Modelling's not a cheap hobby, not by a long shot. So you're looking at ways of saving a few pounds, because at the end of the day it's all money, it all counts, and you know, the more you can save on consumables, the more you've got to go out and get some more kits with, get your skills where you want them to be. I make all my own thinners. Now a lot of people would probably think, oh, is it worth the hassle? Well, it's not a big hassle. You can pay, you know, I don't know, £8 for a pot of X20A. I think it's about £8 for one of them. 250 mils. But that's actually not X20A in there, that's thinners that I've made. I'll do a tutorial on that if people are interested. Drop me a line if you want to see how to make your own home brew. I'll give you a quick once over. I've been making my own thinners now for about a decade, and you know, for £20, £25 worth of product, should we say, the ingredients, I can make about 300 litres of thinners. Do the maths. You know, it's dirt cheap, and you know, anything that saves you money at this stage, again, you know, you can use to buy more models, and you know, that's what we're about at the end of the day. So yeah, I make my own thinners. I make a lot of my own paint. I tend to buy just the primary colours, and I blend all my own paints. And again, you know, it depends on what you're after. If you're doing, which a lot of people do, competition builds and that sort of thing, you know, then if it's calling for a unique colour, you know, you might not be able to get it just you know, correct. So I would advise then, you know, to go out and get the paint it's calling for. But you know, if you're just doing bog standard blacks and greys and that, then, you know, experiment. Keep hold of your old Tamiya or whatever brand you're using paint pots, give them a clean out, and have a dabble. I've made really good progress, you know, where I've been hunting for a particular colour, and then I sort of just sat there and thought, oh, I'll make my own, see what I can come up with. And suddenly you get this colour that appears, and I'm like, yep, I like that. So I mix up enough to fill a 10mm pot, an old empty of a Tamiya pot, and bosh, I'm as, you know, as happy as a pig in slop at the end of the day, because you've just made something there for yourself and saved yourself a good few pounds. And you know, that does mount up. You know, I've spent a small fortune over the years on materials. You sort of think, oh, really, you know, how expensive is it getting? And then all of a sudden you can just concoct a mixture of paint, and you're like, I like that. I did it with Apollo actually. I was after some particular shades of colour there, and I looked at old NASA photos and sort of went through my paint charts and couldn't quite see how I could replicate what I was after, and so I base coated different colours and done a bit of weathering, and then all of a sudden, pop, out she came, the exact colour that I was after. So it was plenty of skipping around the workshop in excitement like a 5-year-old. Nothing wrong with that. That's what we do when the wife's out and about. We become children again. But hey, you know, I think if the wife was to see half the shenanigans that go on in this workshop, she'd have me committed, to be honest with you. But hey, it keeps us going. That's why it's a man cave. Build yourself a man cave. Get in there. Don't let the wife worry about it. Just go and make what you want, when you want, how you want. Sing what you want, hum what you want. It's all part of the fun. There you go. Tiny little engine gubbins going on there, but she'll hold. Just let the glue do its thing. A little bit of pressure. That's the beauty of this extra thin cement. You can just give it a bit of pressure and the plastic just melts into any seams, and ka-ching. Another one done. Excuse me. So I've got 4 of these little engine compartment things to make. So I'll get the rest of those done off of camera. Get them mounted on some cocktail sticks like so. Ready for primer. Once I've done them, I can then get back to figuring out this LED setup. Get the wheels, landing gear built, and get all the components cut off the sprues ready. See you in a second.